Same receivers, different teams. I'm here to talk about 5 receivers that found new homes in the offseason. Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy OT. Starting things off at number 5, the man that was once poised to be Julio Jones' replacement, Calvin Ridley. After bursting onto the scene his rookie year and setting a Falcons franchise record with 10 touchdowns, everything was moving in the right direction until it wasn't. Unfortunately for Ridley, he got into some trouble with betting and he was suspended for a full year. Well, fast forward, and now he's on a new team, ready to show the world why the Falcons made a mistake. I personally think the Falcons gave up on him too early. But nonetheless, new situation, ready to prove a lot, and I think he's going to do it. Ridley is still only 28 years old and entering his prime. I think he has a ton to prove, and I think he's walking into a wonderful situation. He has an ascending Trevor Lawrence, a receiving core with some continuity between Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, and even Travis Etienne. He's going to be able to flourish as a number 2-3 option. I think we saw when he was in Atlanta, when Julio Jones was the guy and he didn't have to be the alpha, is when he had his best seasons. And I think that may be the case in Jacksonville. There's also the fact that Marvin Jones is no longer on the team, leaving 81 vacated targets. And all of those should pretty much be going Ridley's way. And I think it wouldn't be surprising at all to see Ridley separate himself from the group and potentially be the guy again in Jacksonville. So I think at this point, where he's being drafted, which is around the 5th round, is absolutely appropriate. Coming in at number 4, Elijah Moore. It seems like the Jets just love to draft receivers in the 2nd round, not give them an opportunity, and then send them on their way. Between him and Denzel Mims, I feel like both of these guys never really got their due. Moore could have probably handled the situation a little bit better in New York, but I guess if Zach Wilson was my quarterback, it would make it difficult to be happy too. Now he's in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, a big upgrade, and I think he's ready to show everybody that the Jets made a mistake. Fortunately for Moore, he has Amari Cooper on the team and David Njoku, and I think with his skill set being an elite route runner, most of his routes are going to be coming out of the slot. If not, half of his routes would be coming out of the slot, setting him up to be a great half PPR and full PPR option. At this point, he's being drafted around the 12th round, and I think because he's still kind of an unknown, that may be a bit too early. So if you can get him around the 14th round, that might be a better area to reach. Up next at number 3, Brandin Cooks, the man that seems to put on any team's jersey and somehow becomes the best receiver on the team. I mean, the man has 6 1,000-yard seasons to his name, and he's done it with 4 different teams. I've never truly understood how he ended up as a journeyman. He was great with the Saints, great with the Patriots, great with the Rams, and he even managed to go over 1,000 yards twice with the Texans, where he had literally no quarterback. And now he walks into a great situation in the Big D. He has Dak Prescott throwing him the ball, he has CeeDee Lamb taking away defensive attention, and if Michael Gallup can get back up to speed, that's only going to help his case. What's great about Cooks is that his skill set translates so well to all these offenses. He's a burner. That's what he usually does. We see him stretching the seam, getting long balls, but he's also a great route runner. So I think I could see him obviously being used in his traditional role of being a seam stretcher. But if everything that Mike McCarthy has been saying is true, it sounds like Dallas plans to use him in a number of ways. If you do draft him, just know that he's kind of hit or miss with the touchdowns. But of course, he's always just a big play waiting to happen. I think he's a steal right now if you can get him in the 8th round. Coming up at number 2, DJ Moore. I mean, if you can be productive with Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and PJ Walker as your quarterback in one season, you can surely be successful with Justin Fields. I mean, realistically, DJ Moore is kind of making a lateral move. He's going from one bad situation to another bad situation. Fortunately for him, he still doesn't have much competition behind him in Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool. Both of them are far less talented than him. He still managed to get 1,100 yards in 3 out of his 5 seasons in Carolina. And I can totally see him adding another one to his resume this year. The Bears are going to be playing from behind a ton. They want to develop Justin Fields as a passer. And I think that's just going to equate to them relying on Moore that much more heavily. I think they're going to give him all that he can handle, and I can totally see him putting up similar numbers to those that he has in the past. I think he's a bargain at his current ADP of 55. I might even reach for him a little bit because I truly believe he's going to be used heavily. Topping our list, the man that seems to produce no matter what jersey he wears, no matter what quarterback is throwing him the ball, DeAndre Hopkins. I really believe that people are way too eager to write him off. He is still one of the most elite receivers in the NFL, and all he's done has been consistent. I mean, I think aside from his rookie year, he has been top 10 in most receiving categories, specifically targets per game, receptions per game, yards per game, and even being suspended last year and only playing 9 games, he was still in the top 10 in those categories. So I think he has plenty left in the tank. He's officially supposed to sign with the Titans. They have Treylon Burks, who I think is still kind of figuring out how to be a number one, which leaves the door wide open for Hopkins to step in and be the alpha receiver on that team. I think he's going to be a target hog this year, and he's still going to crack the top 10 in most receiving categories. Maybe he's not as fast as he once was, but this man's catch radius is otherworldly. We've seen how big his hands are. He doesn't need much space to just go up and get it, and I can totally see him reminding everybody why the Titans gave him a 2-year, $26 million deal with an additional $6 million in incentives. I mean, they clearly believe in him. He was probably the hottest free agent on the market up until now, and I think he's going to just prove to everybody that he's still one of the best receivers in the league. And I think Ryan Tannehill is actually a slight upgrade over Kyler Murray. That's up for debate, but I do think as a passer, Tannehill is a little more polished. Plus, having Derrick Henry is going to take away a lot of attention. I think teams are still going to stack the box heavily, taking away attention from Hopkins, so it wouldn't be surprising if he has a really great season. I actually feel like he's undervalued at his current ADP of 51, but that should change once he officially signs with the Titans. Those are 5 receivers I think that are going to produce on their new teams. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these guys or any other guys you may think that are going to succeed on their new teams in the comments below.